Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And today I'm going to be showcasing you guys my next take on pure Shaddolls. I still feel like this deck is tier 1, honestly, you guys. It just got overshadowed, but I don't really believe that it necessarily got power prep. I think this deck's super strong. Like, I'm breaking 6 negate boards with this deck. This deck is really powerful, you guys. Definitely, like... Dude, honestly, it's a good thing that it's overshadowed right now, because it's kind of like, okay, well, it might not even get, they won't even bother with touching it on the ban list because it's not really doing anything in the competitive scene. I'm going to showcase you guys my list. It's basically, I've developed kind of somewhat a way to counteract the main issues that you'll run into as a Shaddoll player in the main and the side, while still kind of contributing to the consistency that the deck needs. You always need a fusion outlet. I've got the fusion materials pretty much down to a T, that I'm always going to be opening with them consistently. Rare occasions you may or may not, but for the most part, the list is pretty much where I want it to be, if that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and get into the list. So we're starting off with 3 copies of Mathman. This card is like the best normal summon in this deck that I'm playing right now. Like, Mathman is just absolute utility, you guys. He does a plethora of different things. Naturally, he gets you access to missing combo pieces no matter what. He baits interruptions going second. Card is just amazing, you guys. Like, he's just super duper strong, even against back row heavy decks, because he just sends Dragon. Like, he's powerful, you guys. He can even send Squamata the same core. Like, Mathman has way too much utility. 3 math, 3 copies of Windy, 3 copies of Hedgehog. These are like the strongest Shaddolls for your combos. You want to open one of these 9. By playing Mathman, it gives you 12 of them, because Math can just dump Hedgehog to search out anything you need anyways. So essentially, it's like you're playing 12 dolls of whatever you need, because Hedgehog's utility, Windy's utility, Squamata's utility. This deck is a toolbox. So Hedgehog can search what you need. Windy obviously accesses it through the deck. Squamata is basically Construct without having, you know, every other effect that she has, but it sends any Shaddoll card just like Construct. So Squamata's kind of just the best Shaddoll in general. It has the most utility for your Shaddoll plays, because Squamata sends anything, including the spells, including the traps. It's crazy. Then we have 3 copies of Shaddoll Beast. You want to max out. For my list, I pretty much max out on the good Shaddolls. I want to open up a fusion spell, a couple fusion spells, and a couple dolls so I can play. If I'm going second, my opponent's just going to negate my spell. So at that point, I just want a couple fusion materials and like 2 to 3 fusion spells so that I can get my outlets properly and I can just be able to combo off. If you open up a couple fusion spells, you'll be able to break multiple negation boards. As long as you have access to your extra deck. This deck is really insane, you guys. 3 copies of Ariel. Ariel is really powerful. I'm still playing 3. I'm rocking 3. If you've been following me and watching my Shaddoll content, you guys know I'm keeping Ariel at 3. This card's insane. You want 1 for the combo, 1 for interruptions. It's a great follow-up play. You can use Ariel on your own graveyard cards, so that then you could use it later on the duel to just flip it to bring back the cards that you banished yourself. Ariel's just super powerful, you guys. Triple DD Crow's not a joke. 2 copies of Dragon. Dragon is just amazing. It's a super aggressive, powerful card, you guys. If you Dark Roller your opponent with a Mathman, you normal Mathman, dump Dragon, pop the Destruction Sword, so you get access to your extra deck. You can activate Shaddoll Fusion and just nuke their whole field. Typically, you could just do it with Topologic Bomber Dragon, a new addition to the deck. 1 copy of Kaios. It's a searchable light attributes, which is the most important thing. Falco is amazing, you guys. It's super powerful. You have to play him at just like somewhere in your list. You have to play Falco. I feel like at this point you have to play Hound. Hound is just too good, you guys. Super duper nice card. A vast amount of utility, including going second. He changes the battle position of any monster on the field, so he could even turn a monster to defense, so you could just attack over it. So he's just super strong. For supplementary engine cards, I played 2 copies of Edgent Chain. 2 copies of Lunalight Black Sheep. The Lunalight engine has been cut down to an extent. I still like Black Sheep because it's basically a fusion attribute for Winda, and at the same time, it also could bait call buys, and it still searches out my poly when I need it. So having more access to the fusion outlets is really important. Even Edgem Chain can search Patchwork. You would just basically have to find a way to just get them off the field, or just, you know, pitch them in your hand. Then we have 1 Damage Juggler and 1 Trick Clown for your lights. Basically, Mathman gives you equivalents to them so that you can have quicker access to lights. Mathman can just dump them on command. The only hand trap that I'm playing in the main deck is actually Gamma. Gamma's a problem-solving card for this deck. So not only is Gamma going to end an entire Needle Fiber combo itself, because you just Gamma the Halki Fibrax, obviously, but going second, if your opponent activates True King of all Calamities, even if they wait till you control a card, like you could activate Shaddoll Fusion, they'll chain Calamities, you can chain Gamma, negate it, destroy it. For that variant of Eldritch, they're just going to have the Calamities, you can just negate that. This card cannot be called by the grave, so it's just really, really powerful, the fact that you can stop Calamities, you can stop combos. And also, in addition to that, if your opponent's negating your fusion spells, you could chain Gamma from hand. If your opponent activates Abyss Dweller, you could chain Gamma from hand. You know, it's just crazy. Because they'll wait for you to control a card, which is normally going to be a fusion spell you activate, because that's how you play this deck, so that they can't be imperm, but you can still chain Gamma. Gamma is just super duper powerful. Even going second, just baiting negates, Shaddoll Fusion, chain Gamma. You baited 2 negates. You could follow up with just normal Mathman or just activate L or anything like that. Like, this deck is super duper powerful. Even without the Invoke card, Shaddoll is just such a strong deck. Outside of Gamma being one of the most powerful and reactive hand traps for this deck and solving so many problems, the Dweller problem, the Calamities problem, Needle Fiber being a thing, you know, negates being a problem sometimes, it's light attributes. Worst case scenario, it's lights. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, I'm playing 3 copies of Patchwork. This card is insane. I've been playing it for a while. I'm not going to take too much time in this profile because I've done this so many times on the channel. A 3 Patchwork card is absolutely insane. It replaces itself. 2 copies of Fusion Recycling Plant. This card gives you more longevity for your grind game. It obviously accesses Poly from deck or grave, and also it just lets you keep adding your fusion materials back. You can recycle your extra deck stuff. You know, getting your materials back to your hand just keeps you in the game. This deck can grind like really, really good. I still play 3 extra Foolish Burial. Honestly, this card, like, is so powerful, especially going second. Like, it's 3 extra copies of Shaddoll Fusion. Like, the downside of it is you just have to combo off at that point. You have to summon Appaloosa Dweller Window. You absolutely have to do it. Now, I understand that the card says you can't set, and I know that can be a drawback, but the times you activate this is when you absolutely have to. That means you are not going to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In the first place. So you can't even sit here and argue with me and say, oh, don't activate the card. If you're activating it, you only activate this card when you have to. It adds a layer of consistency to your deck to search any Shaddoll card you need off Colonnade. But more importantly, you don't just play this just because. You play this when there's no other card in your hand that can get you to your combo. So if you don't have any fusion spells, you have to activate this. Or it doesn't matter if you can't set because you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Period. And when you're going second, this is getting you 3 extra copies of Shaddoll Fusion. It's crazy. So the card's gas. Yeah, like this card is staying in my list, you guys. It's super powerful. 2 Foolish Burial Goods. This card also helps you out going second. There's a layer of utility with this. And if your opponent negates your fusion spells, you could dump core effect to Atom. And since they negated the activation, you can activate it again. Same fusion spell they negated. 1 Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is basically like another Mathman. It's just Mathman without being on legs. So the 6 Foolish Burial spells. I play the 3 Allure of Darkness for some draw power for the deck. You just need a little bit. You can definitely go deeper with like Desires and the Spellbook cards too, but you know, you definitely want to make sure that you have a balance in your deck. For me, the Gammas took the place of what would have been like Super Polys and Spellbook cards, because Super Polys just kind of not as strong this format. Just too many extra deck locks, you know, too many decks that don't necessarily like Super Poly just doesn't hurt them. If you go first and you set it, it could be an interruption to take one of their cards for you to fuse. But ultimately, this is a different format. Maybe in the future, when people aren't locking you out of your extra deck so excessively, Super Poly may become more powerful. But right now, Gamma kind of took the place of Super Poly. Gamma's super strong. For the fusion spells, because those are all your consistency cards. For the fusion spells, we play 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. This card is gas. 3L, I like it more. It's more flexible. It does so many things. I've explained this multiple times in my profiles. 3 copies of Poly. You have supplemental engines to search this out and recycle it. So effectively with the 3 Patchworks, the plants, that's 5, the 3 Ls, that's 8, the 3 Shaddoll Fusions, that's 11, the 3 Polys, that's 14. And then also with the Lunalight Sheep, that's 16. If you count the chains, that's basically 18. Excluding, you know, Mathman, Foolish Burial Goods, extra Foolish Burial, you already have like 16 cards that access it. Then the 3 extra Foolish Burials gives you 19. Mathman plus Goods just gives you like so much utility, because you could dump the fusion spell, then Squamata Sing Core to add it back. So there's so many ways you could access your fusion spells in this deck. For traps, 3 copies of Incarnation. This card is the grind game. Like, the deck can already grind, but just being able to loop this like dang near infinitely is just so annoying. DD Crow's not that popular. It's more like Ghost Bell. I mean, not Ghost Bell. Ghost Morning and like Ash Blossom and Ibiru and Imperm and Veiler are the popular hand traps. And then the one core, you want to play this in every list. Not only does it give you utility for your fusion summoning mechanic, but in addition to that, the card allows you to play through interruptions because you dump this to add your negated fusion spells. It's so nice, you guys. Super duper strong card. I've tested it at 2 before because it's so good. The extra deck is the 4 constructs. I'm summoning this as much as I can, very oftenly, because this just helps you to keep you in the game, and it just gives you so much gas for your follow-ups. It just gives you tempo swings. 2 Op Colones, 1 to dump, 1 to summon. This card you want to properly summon because once you start looping it, it can keep you in the game for a very long time. A perm negate on any card is just super insane in this format. This card's super hard to kill, and when they kill it, you normally just search for Shaddoll Fusion so you can kill them in return. 2 windows, you want to play multiples, you summon 1, they Dark Ruler, Kaiju, you know, evenly, anything happens, you keep the window. If they even they Lightning Storm you, you keep the window. If they Dark Ruler no more, you just summon another window off of El Shaddoll Fusion. That's why it's important to play 2. It's absolutely correct. So you play around all the side deck cards, even the Kaijus, even the Lava Golems, even the Spear Modes, everything. El Shaddoll Fusion, they can chain Cyclone, you can still chain L and just summon window anyways. And then we have 1 copy of Shikinaga, 1 Grista. Grista in the main, it gives you more utility. Basically, for your fusion mechanic, also when you put in your super polys again, if you want to play it, it also is another super poly for super poly target for Soundman Greats. But Grista is actually super strong against dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are a really powerful deck. Grista also, you know, it stops basically inherent summons, which is really important. So just gives you more reactive plays. Grista is super duper powerful, you guys. Like I'm saying, like if they just summon Conductor, you just negate the summon. Shikinaga just gives you more negates. I'm playing 1 Gravity, 1 Cross. Topologic Bomber Dragon, I'm just checking out the camera. Topologic Bomber Dragon is the new addition to the deck. You could play a Chain Abomination or Appaloosa or even Zeraboros. I'm still playing Appaloosa, honestly. Appaloosa is just too nice. Making sure that you can end on Oppo, Winda, Dweller, that kind of can just body a lot of decks without them opening Dark Ruler no more. With this card, even going second, when you play through all the negates, because this deck is, I've done it, it's on my channel. I broke 6 negate boards with Shaddolls. You can just summon Bomber with your standard combo, and you just nuke their field, and you take control of the game with your Bomber, and you start triggering it multiple times to prevent them from recovering. You keep your Winda. When the Winda gets threatened, you just fuse the Bomber and the Winda to another Winda and just keep them in the lock. This card is super powerful, super aggressive, very good for Shaddolls for tempo swings. And setting up your turn 1 board with the Bomber is like, okay, it's super nice, you guys. It's super duper nice. For the side deck, let me check real quick. I side triple Chalice. Chalice is a very reactive card. You can chain it to True King of all Calamities as well as you being able to chain it to Dweller. The 2 lingering effects that cannot be stopped by Dark Ruler no more can be stopped by my Forbidden Chalice and my Cypherm Gear Gamma. I'm trying to play Yu-Gi-Oh! No matter what. Dweller's a big problem for this deck, so Chalice and Gamma are great ways to respond to it. Even if they wait for you to commit a card to the board trying to play around Imperm, they won't be able to play around the Chalice or the Gamma without an extra negate or disruption to protect it. So either it's baiting a negate or it's taking care of the problem. Either way, it's a good situation for you. It's reactive, so you could even side it in going first. 3 Dark Rulers, 3 Evenlies, 3 Lava Golems. It's a little bit more useful than Spear Mode, and also it's a fusion material. 2 copies of Jizakira. It's a light attribute Kaiju, so you can still summon Construct. Kaijus and Lava Golems are really good. You just want to Kaiju the Borlo Savage that's equipped with the Destruction Sword, and then Tankertops as a 2-for-1 special to clear threats. So this is pretty much my template for Pure Shaddolls right now. I like Pure, it's my jam. I just enjoy playing Pure. You guys could definitely play Invoke, but Invoke does have a problem with the extra deck where you don't have that much flexibility to put in some of the fire tech cards like, you know, Bomber. You can't play a lot of the Shaddoll fusions because you're playing the invoked fusions still, and you have to play, you know, like the cards that turn the Alistair into a 1-card mecha, but 2, so that's already 2 extra deck slots being burned. So Invoke